Good morning and welcome to the Regulators and Policymakers Retreat. This is the conference that we hold every year. It's an annual conference and this is the 11th edition of the conference, which is being held at the Taj Fort Aguada Beach Resort here at Goa. I have the pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, of welcoming Dr. Devdutt Pattnaik, Chief Belief Officer of the Future Group. Welcome to the conference, Dr. Pattnaik. Sir, we'd like to know, you have spoken on TED regarding mythology. You have explained to us how values, beliefs are driven by mythology and how they, rule our actions, they guide our actions, and indeed societal actions. So we wanted to know from you, sir, if we look at human history from the rich dad, poor dad perspective, is it true that certain civilizations, certain societies have had mythological traditions or belief systems, value systems, which could explain why they got prosperous? For example, why Europe became prosperous and ruled over large parts of the world, whereas African countries could not?
You see, every culture has a mythology. So there's no such thing as a culture without mythology, because mythology is the stories that inform our understanding of the world. So whether it's an Inuit in the Antarctic region or someone in Africa or someone in Australia or someone in India, everybody has something, their understanding of the world. Now, you see, when we look at the world from the measuring scale of prosperity, then we are asking that they are more prosperous and therefore one is better. But let us look at the cost of that prosperity. When we look at European powers going to Australia, going to Africa, going to America, it meant the dissemination of the natives that lived there, the complete annihilation of tribes and nations, which means their understanding of the world and their mythology allowed them to dehumanize these people and say that they don't matter. Just as you cut a tree, just as you cut a plant, just as you destroy the environment, you destroy nation states. So it's that understanding that allows me to do that, and so prosperity comes at a price. So if we are comfortable with paying that price, then we too shall be prosperous.
Right. But then does this mean that, say, Europeans, they managed to build these large ocean-going ships that could cross the Atlantic and go to the Americas, and they could change the lives of belief systems and uproot a whole lot of tribes over there? Why wasn't it so that the tribes in North America could do the same? Build ships, travel across the oceans and conquer other people?
See, if you look at what you're talking about is something which happened in 300 years, 400 years. At the outer limit is 500 if you're looking at the shipbuilding. You see, it starts with the Renaissance. And in the Renaissance period, you had the scientific discoveries being made. When the scientific discoveries, science gives us all kinds of tools, and it gives all kinds of, and the first people to get access to those tools were the Europeans, because that's where the Reformation took place. Now, why it took place, one can tell you how it happened, but why exactly it happened, we will never be sure. And so you had a whole bunch of technology. The question is, what do you do with that technology? And the Europeans chose to use that technology to conquer the rest of the world, which made them extremely prosperous. And today we are in a world where new technologies have come in, the world has changed, and we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to do with that technology? Because ultimately it is a human being who uses the technology, and it is the human being who decides what he wants to do with the technology. And if I want to use the technology to destroy you, nothing is going to stop me from doing that. Because and why will I destroy you? Because something in my mythology tells me that I matter more than you. In the natural world, it's not so. Nature treats both of us equally. You are an animal, I am an animal. We are no different from a rat or a vermin or a cobra or a kangaroo. But in our minds, we believe that I am more important than you, and therefore the earth's resources matter more, should come to me than to you. And so I create structures that justify me getting more and you getting less, and I'll create fantastic narratives that will celebrate that. It could be on the basis of my birth, it could be on the basis of my geography. So because I'm born in a particular family, I'm allowed to inherit a vast amount of fortune. And because you're not born in that family, you're not allowed to that access to that wealth. Now, if you think about it from step back and look at it, they all sound very absurd, and that's mythology. So suddenly we become owners of the ship, and who made human beings the owners of a vast continent? Humans did. So I decided I'll be the owner, and I decided I'll be the master, and there's no one out there telling us that you can't do that. So we create these constructions that allow us to do what we want with our lives. And some people choose to be prosperous at the cost of others, some people choose to be prosperous but not at the cost of others, and that's what mythology does. It shapes the way you take decisions.